My name is John Harper, and my life has always been complicated. Growing up, my younger brother Jason was everyone's favorite. He was charming, smart, and seemingly flawless, while I was invisible. Whatever I did, it was never enough. If I got an A on a test, it was expected. If I spoke up, I was too sensitive. And if Jason got caught doing something wrong, he was forgiven, or worse, praised for learning a lesson. I'll never forget the day he broke my arm over a stupid argument in the backyard. I was 9, he was 6. My parents didn't punish him. I was told to stop being dramatic. And stop being dramatic I did. I learned early that keeping quiet was safer than standing up. By the time I was 18, I moved out. Not because I wanted to, but because I had no choice. Life at home was toxic, and I refused to play by their rules. I couch-surfed, worked odd jobs, and slowly, painfully learned independence. Jason, of course, got their praise and financial support, while I learned to survive on my own. Then came the pandemic. I'd been renting a 2-bedroom condo with a friend, and we had it all planned out. Then suddenly jobs vanished, money disappeared, and the apartment was no longer affordable. My roommate left, I sold almost everything I owned, and I found myself living in a $1,000 camper I mounted on my truck. At first, it was temporary, but months turned into years. Living in that camper wasn't glamorous. There was no shower, only a portable toilet I dreaded emptying, and summers were brutally hot. Winters were bitter unless I had the little electric heater running constantly. I survived by plugging into random power sources, sneaking extension cords into office buildings, and borrowing showers at friends' places or the gym. I became a master of improvisation. During that time, I bounced between retail jobs and warehouse work. I learned new skills, worked insane hours, and eventually earned a supervisor position. It wasn't easy, but it gave me something I'd never had growing up: security, stability, pride. By mid-last year, I had saved enough to finally buy a home. It was a 3-bedroom manufactured house on a small lot, just 2 miles from my job. It was mine. I made the down payment, secured the mortgage, and for the first time I felt safe. I could reverse my truck, remove the camper, and know I wasn't just surviving. I was living. For a few weeks I reveled in my independence. I posted about it online, proud of how far I'd come. Then came the knock at the door. It was my family. Parents, Jason and Lisa, the woman I could never get along with. They pushed past me as if my house was theirs by default. Lisa had that creepy smirk I'd seen for years, the one that meant she thought she had already won. My blood boiled. Jason didn't even wait for an invitation. He barged into my living room and began listing all the reasons my house was too big for me alone. "It's closer to my job," he said. "We need space for the kids, and you don't even have a family yet. You have the camper. You can live outside." I froze for a second. Part of me wanted to throw him out immediately. But I knew I had to be careful. They were entitled, manipulative, and willing to push as far as they could. I grabbed my phone and set it to record. Every word, every gesture, every lie would be on camera. "Hell no," I said, finally finding my voice. Jason faltered, momentarily stunned. "This is my house. I earned it. I built it with my own money. You will not live here, and no one can force me to let you in." Lisa didn't take this well. She lunged at me, scratching and striking, trying to intimidate me. Jason held her back, shouting, "Let her go." But I was prepared. I showed the cops the video, and they immediately stepped in. The authorities separated everyone, and I finally felt a glimmer of relief. For the first time in my life, I was standing up for myself and not backing down. My parents tried their usual manipulation, but I ignored it. Jason and Lisa left humiliated. My house was still mine, and I had a new sense of power. It wasn't just about the house, it was about finally reclaiming my life from the people who had spent decades trying to control it. And I knew deep down, this was only the beginning. The weeks after the confrontation were strangely quiet. My parents didn't call, Jason didn't text, and Lisa vanished from social media. At first I felt relief, like the storm had passed. But I knew better. Entitlement like theirs doesn't just fade, it simmers, waiting for a chance to strike again. I focused on my life. Work had been crazy but rewarding. My supervisor role became a launchpad. I suggested process improvements, trained new employees, and even earned a small bonus. For the first time, I saw a path upward. Maybe I could finally escape the constant financial stress, maybe even invest in something bigger. Then came the subtle sabotage. Small things at work, emails I didn't send, tools missing from inventory. Nothing catastrophic, just enough to make me doubt myself. It didn't take long to trace it back to Jason. Somehow he had contacts in the same industry, and he was using them to make my life miserable. I could have exploded. I could have confronted him immediately, but I wanted a clean victory. I documented everything, emails, messages, even voicemail threats. If I had to go public or involve authorities, I wanted airtight proof. At home, I poured myself into improvement. I upgraded my house, new appliances, better furniture, even a small office setup. I worked nights studying finance and business management online. Slowly, my camper and survivor mode past became a distant memory. People who met me at work didn't know I once slept in a truck. They just saw competence, determination, and intelligence. And then it happened. Jason appeared again, this time at my job. He strutted into the warehouse like he owned it, loudly telling my team how John couldn't handle real responsibility, and he'd never be successful without family help. My heart raced, but I stayed calm. I had cameras, I had witnesses, and I had patience. Over the next 2 months, I quietly built a network of allies at work, people I trained, helped, and supported. I documented Jason's every move. When he tried to sabotage a shipment, I had video evidence. When he lied to my boss about a delay, I had timestamps and emails. Slowly, the tables were turning. Then came the final move. I found a small warehouse for sale nearby, cheap but solid, and quietly purchased it under my own LLC. I began a side business, shipping supplies, contracting services, and even taking small local jobs. I worked 16-hour days, often sleeping in my house only a few hours, but every night I felt closer to something bigger. Jason tried one last time. He showed up at my office furious, demanding I sell my new business and hand it over. I smiled, calm, composed, unshakable. "No," I said simply. "Everything here is mine. I worked for it. You want to fight? Fine, but I don't back down." I handed the collected evidence to my boss and the authorities. Jason's manipulations were exposed, and he was reprimanded, demoted, and publicly embarrassed. For the first time, he couldn't rely on charm or manipulation. He had nowhere to hide. The best part? I didn't just survive, I thrived. My business began attracting new clients. My reputation as someone reliable, tough, and honest grew, and slowly everyone who had doubted me started noticing. My house, my job, my business, they were all mine. I didn't just win. I dominated. Months passed. My business expanded, my reputation soared, and for the first time I truly felt free. I'd never been rich, but I was wealthy in the only way that mattered. I controlled my life, my time, and my destiny. Then came the phone call I'd been waiting for. It was my parents hesitantly asking to meet. My heart raced. Old instincts told me to avoid them, to run, to hide. But I wasn't that scared boy anymore. I was John Harper, the man who'd survived everything they threw at him, and then some. I agreed to meet at my house. They arrived, nervous, sheepish, and for the first time defeated. Jason followed, trying to act confident, but I could see the panic in his eyes. My house, once a point of contention, now gleamed. My office, my living room, even the small home theater I'd built, all testified to my hard work. I let them in calmly and served coffee. No yelling, no tears, just quiet dominance. My parents tried their usual manipulation, bringing up old grievances. "We only wanted what's best for you," they said. "We never wanted to hurt you." I leaned back, smiling faintly. "You hurt me every single day of my life, and now you're watching me succeed without you. Everything I have, everything I built, I did on my own." Jason flinched. He had nothing to say. Lisa, silent, avoided eye contact. They had spent decades trying to control me, and for the first time their control was gone. Over the next hour, I calmly laid out the truth. I explained how they'd manipulated, lied, and sabotaged. I showed my evidence, not angrily, but as a statement. Each photo, each email, each video clip chipped away at their pride. By the end, the room was silent. My parents left, humbled. Jason and Lisa left, defeated. And me? I finally exhaled. I walked through my home that evening, looking at everything I'd built. The house, the office, the business, it wasn't just property or success. It was proof that I could survive, thrive, and win. I had transformed years of pain into power, years of struggle into triumph. And for the first time, I felt completely free. I poured a glass of water, leaned back, and smiled. John Harper had arrived. If you loved this story of resilience, revenge, and triumph, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more real-life family drama and victory stories. See you in the next one.